You're listening to the My Simplified Life podcast, and this is episode number 147. Welcome to the My Simplified Life podcast, a place where you will learn that your past and even your present don't define your future. Regardless of what stage of life you're in, I want you to feel inspired and encouraged to pursue your dreams, simplify your life, and start taking action today. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, and I'm excited to share my stories and life lessons with you while taking you on my own journey. This is My Simplified Life. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac. If you follow me on Instagram or you're on my email list, then the story I'm about to tell you is a bit familiar because it recently happened. And in all honesty, I didn't know that this was going to be a story that I would have to share one day because it was so unexpected. So I want to share what happened to me this month in July for a few reasons. One being what's come out of it, what I've learned about myself and out of life. Another one being that you have to be your own medical advocate in certain situations, and that there is an unexpectedness when it comes to life, that we need to live today because we have today, and tomorrow is certainly not a given. And I think many of us live day in and day out and take that for granted to a certain extent. You know, we have a routine every single day. You know, we wake up, we take care of the kids, we work out, we talk to our spouses and our partners, we cook dinner, we go to bed, rinse and repeat. And I want to do less of that and more of being in the moment. And so I'll share with you what happened to me. I'm a fairly healthy person. I work out, I eat semi-okay. It depends on the day. But I cook, at least 5 nights a week at home. So there's nothing out of the ordinary for me health-wise. And between Saturday and Sunday night of July 9th and 10th, I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't sleep on my left side. I had back pain. And I thought that it was simply a pinched nerve. The kids have recently been to the dentist. They're all jazzed about new brushing techniques they learned. They've been wanting help on it, but they tend to face the mirror and want me to come in from the side. And I feel like a contortionist when I'm doing it. So I thought, okay, I did something to my back with brushing their teeth. And on Sunday, it hurt a little bit more, but it was manageable. I popped some Motrin and, went about my day. And whether that's the mom in me or just a high pain tolerance, that's what happened. We ran some errands and I had a little shortness of breath, but I thought it was no big deal. It was 100 degrees. So nothing seemed really strikingly weird to me. On Monday, it seemed to get a little worse. And it was Monday night around 8 p.m. The kids were in bed, that suddenly I could not take a breath sitting on the couch without being in excruciating pain. I got up, bolted up, standing, and said to Ted that breathe, I'm in pain. I don't know what to do. And I said, just bring me upstairs. I think I just want to go to bed. I'll take a muscle relaxer, do something. It hurts really bad. And I am someone who has a high pain tolerance, according to my doctors. And I thought I was seeing stars. He said that I got really pale at one point. I thought I might throw up. I didn't know what was going on. And then it passed. And I decided that I was just going to sleep it off and call the doctor in the morning. So I actually slept on the couch because it was flatter. It felt more comfortable, but it was a lot of tossing and turning throughout the night. And at 4 a.m., I woke up again with pain every time I took a breath in. But it was only on my back on the left side. So I emailed my doctor at 4 a.m. saying, I'm going to call you first thing, but this is what's going on. At 8 a.m., I had an email response that said, you should make an appointment. So I called and they said, we can't see you until Friday. This was Tuesday, July 12th. I then called back and said, I'll take anybody. I will literally see anyone in your office. It doesn't matter who it is. I need to be seen. And I was told again, we'll see you on Friday. So by now, I don't know what to do. I figure, okay, I'll just live with this. The doctor doesn't think it's that important. And I went about my day. I worked, I played with the kids, and I posted on Instagram around 2 p.m. that I was lying in bed with a heating pad because once again, I had already looked up pinched nerve. I did some stretches. It hurt. I couldn't lie flat on my back at this point, and nothing was working. So I sat on the bed for 30 minutes with a heating pad. And when I got off the bed, I was brought to my knees in pain again. And at that point, I said, take me to the hospital. I've never seen my family jump so quickly and get ready, grab Kindles, grab waters, grab masks. We're going to the ER. So another secret I didn't know when you go to the ER is for us, we have a kiosk where you input your name, they scan your ID, and then you check off symptoms that you're experiencing. I checked off that I had chest pain, shortness of breath, back pain. Just saying you have shortness of breath actually moves you to the front of the line. So I was seen by a doctor before I was even registered in the hospital. And she came up to me and she said, I want to rule out a blood clot. And I kind of chuckled at her and said, well, I think it's just a pinched nerve and it's just really, really bad. But whatever you want to do, great, let's do it. So I had some blood drawn. I went back for an x-ray, and then I was sitting around and she said, it's going to be a while now. And now it's like 5 p.m. So I actually sent Ted and the kids home. I said, I don't know what's going to go on. Go get some dinner. Don't be bored sitting around the hospital outside. So then she said that the D-dimer, this is a test that they run on your blood that measures blood clot levels. That I didn't know that even existed. She said it was elevated and showed signs that I could have a blood clot. So she ordered a CT scan. Now, I don't know if you've had a CT scan, but you have to lie flat on your back with your arms up. The machine tells you when to take a breath and inhale and to hold it. And all of these things were what was causing me pain. So I have never been in such excruciating pain in my life. I've had 2 C-sections. I've had a D&C. I have never experienced this kind of pain. I had tears in my eyes, and I felt sorry for the technician because he knew that I was in pain, but I was trying my best to do this. And then I couldn't even get off the table when he was done. Within 30 minutes of that CT scan, the doctor came back to me and said, your lungs are filled with blood clots. You're being admitted right now. We're putting in a heparin drip. Now, Ted was already home, so I sent him a message, and I had also forgotten my phone. So I was using his phone to contact him, and I said, you know what, I'm going to be in the hospital. I don't know what's happening now, but the kids can't visit me. Can you come see me? Because it's now 7 p.m. at night. Visiting hours are over, but you can come into the ER, and that's where I am. So he dropped off the kids with some friends and got there immediately. I was already in a room in the ER. I didn't have my regular room. But from there, I was then shuttled upstairs to the cardiac and pulmonary unit where I got to share a room. And it's very interesting when you're sharing a room with a stranger. I know all kind of from other people that nobody should know. But that began my 5-day stay in the hospital. I had a heparin drip at all times. It's a blood thinner. And I was still experiencing the pain. So I was given morphine. I was awake and cognizant of everything that was going on, but and then there's disruptive sleep in a hospital. There was constant noise. I had my blood drawn every 6 hours. I had my vitals being checked in between there. So I was sleeping at random hours all the time. And nobody would say anything, really. I had a doctor do the rounds. She came by in the morning, but that was about it. And then on Wednesday night, the nurse said, you can't eat after midnight. Why? She said, tomorrow you're going to have a thrombectomy. It's scheduled, but that's all we know. No doctor had told me what a thrombectomy was, why I was having one. And it was the next morning, on Thursday morning, that the head of oncology and hematology came by and asked if I was ready for the procedure. And I let him know that I had no idea what was going on, but my fingers had Googled last night. So I do know what that means, but otherwise, nobody had spoken to me about why or what was going to happen. Well, he was apparently the right person to talk to because he went and he had the doctor who was doing the procedure come see me, the doctor who was doing the rounds come see me, and suddenly I became very popular. So a thrombectomy is where they go through, for me, the groin, and they use a camera to see the clot that they then suck out. For me, I had a clot on my inferior vena cava, and they were afraid that it was going to go up to my heart. Now, the risk with this procedure that I discussed with the doctor was that as they go in to suck it out from the groin, it can escape and still go to the heart and kind of playing like a chase game. And so this was the concern. And this is when it kind of hit me that shit, I could die. Like literally, this is the moment that you realize you could die. And I hadn't said goodbye to my kids properly. And I started thinking, what's going to happen? What do I do with the business checking account that is my business? Yes, I have, directives of, who's in line for it. And yes, Ted will get things like, the money, but how long is he going to have to wait to get that? And so I started moving money around because I didn't know what else to do. I was lucky that Ted then came to the procedure and he was able to be there with me beforehand. And it was delayed. No reasons given why it was delayed or when they were going to come get me. But as we met the doctor who was doing the procedure, he said, I was thinking. And in that moment, I thought, well, I'm glad you were thinking before this procedure. Like, what else have you been doing, doctor? My trust level was really, really slim at this point. And he said, I think that we should also go through a vein in your neck and we're going to insert a disc. And that's going to stop the clot from escaping if it tries to. I said, okay, I trust you. Meanwhile, there was an anesthesiologist who came in who was utterly amazing. And she was the calming force. It felt like she was the one who knew what she was doing. So I was lucky. I went into the room for the procedure and the nurse asked what kind of music I would like. And I said, well, it's really not about me. It's about whatever the doctors would want. And she said, well, Fleetwood Mac is playing. So are you okay with that? And in that moment, all I could see was the white party from Necker Island and all of my new friends dancing to Fleetwood Mac on the beach. And I said, yes, that is what I want. So they put me under as they do. It's not fully under. They just kind of make you sleepy. And I actually woke up to hear the doctor say, oh, there it is. Yes, we got it. We got the whole thing. And I said, well, way to go, everybody. Congratulations. I appreciate it. And it stunned them that I was actually awake. And then I asked if I could see it on the way out because, who gets to see a blood clot that's just been taken out of your vein? I thought it would be kind of interesting. So I did get to see that on the way out. And then I was brought back into recovery. And then I got to be reunited with Ted for a while before he went back to the kids and I was feeling okay. Throughout the entire process, when they come take your vitals and they take your blood at all hours, nobody says, hey, do you want your medicine? Even though things are, supposed to be dished out every 4 hours. I have what's called an unproductive cough because my body recognizes that there's a foreign object in my lungs. And so I cough for no reason at all. Nothing happens with it. But now I have to send to help me with that because the cough produced pain in the back. And, it was this whole trickle effect. But nobody came in every 4 hours and said, do you want your cough medicine? I had to literally ask for that. Nobody said, you need to go to the bathroom. There were nurses who trusted me for 4 days to use the call button and have my IV stopped so that I could use the restroom. And then suddenly I had a nurse who came in on the last night who said, "Oh no, I'm setting your alarm on your bed and you need to stay in bed because I don't trust that you're going to try to go to the bathroom without me." Well, my track record shows, lady, that I'm good to go. I can be trusted, but she apparently trusted no one. So it was very much a who knows who's doing what. And on Friday, I was told by the doctor that I would be discharged, but it was on the condition that they wanted me to have oxygen at home. My oxygen level with oxygen was around 94, 96 out of 100. But when I removed it and would walk down the aisle of the hospital, it reduced down to 88, which concerned them. And so they wanted me to just come home, have some oxygen. We do have stairs in the house. And so a case manager was assigned to me, and she said she was going to do her best. And I said, well, your best has to be really, really good because it's Friday afternoon and I'm concerned about the weekend. I'm not spending the weekend here when I can be at home. Well, guess what? At 5:00, she left and there was no oxygen delivered. So I spent another night in the hospital. By Saturday morning, the doctor who had been doing the rounds every morning came and said she was surprised to see me. And I explained to her what happened with the case manager who went home. And I get we all have jobs, 9 to 5, you go home. But I think that when you work in a hospital and this is what's going to make me go home and not spend more money in the hospital where I don't have to be is absurd. And I was not happy at all. She had a meeting 10 minutes later with case managers, and suddenly my phone was ringing and there was oxygen being delivered and set up at the house. And that afternoon, I finally got to leave. The anesthesiologist had told me when I woke up and was going to recovery that I was a walking miracle. And she said, "I hope you find your purpose after this." And I told her, I have my purpose. I think I just need to get louder. The ER doctor told me that I was within days, literally. So I could have died from this, especially if I had waited until Friday when the doctor was supposed to see me. I've had to make appointments and follow-up appointments. I've had to fight to get more cough medicine prescribed to me, despite the doctor at the hospital prescribing it, because you then have to go back to your primary care. I still don't know why this happened, and I have to wait for more test results. I have another appointment with the hematologist that I'm really excited about because he is so prominent in our area. And I now have a referral for a pulmonologist. So this is just the beginning of this journey. I was also lucky that I had a therapy appointment the following week of all of this happening. And I told my therapist that I felt this sense of urgency. Like I have shit that needs to get done, whether we're talking about advanced life directives or, what did Ted and I want when we pass away? We've now had those conversations. Do you want to be buried somewhere? Do you want to be cremated? Where do you want to be buried? Like, what is it that you want? What are your last wishes? Which is interesting because I work with clients who this is what they do. They pre-plan funerals. And yet we haven't had these full conversations around this because, we didn't think this is good. We're healthy. This isn't going to happen, but it can happen. And along the lines of the urgency part, my therapist said to me, you don't need to feel urgent because you were just given more time. You have time to do all the things that you want to do. And so now I'm reflecting more on what is it that I want to do? Because I often get caught up in wanting to do all the things for all the people, for all the causes. But what is it that's most important to me that I want to do? What is it that I can say no to? Because it is not a priority. And so I did come home and I said no to some things. And I said, I quit this because it's not benefiting me. It's not benefiting my family. Move on. I've also seen and quite honestly taken note of who's reached out with concern. This hasn't been a secret that I've kept. It's something that I've been open about. And it's been really interesting to see who sends a message, who sends an email, who sends a text, who calls. And I know that I am utterly blessed to have those people in my life, but I also noticed who kept silent. And this was freaking scary. This was a big moment in my life. And I think that we all need to assess at times who is in our life, who means a lot to us, and who reciprocates those feelings and shows that we mean a lot to them. I think these are really important things that we need to consider in life because it is too short. You don't know when your last day is going to be. You don't know when you will be getting a scare like this. I share all of this with you today because I, first of all, want you to be aware that health scares can happen when you least expect it. Pay attention to your body, listen to your intuitions. In my case, I'm really, really lucky I didn't listen to the receptionist because it wasn't even the doctor who said, wait till Friday. It was a receptionist who told me over and over. I'm really lucky that I am able to advocate for myself, that I had the cognizance and the ability to listen to the doctors, to ask for medicine when I needed it, to be able to comprehend what they told me, because I've had to retell this story many times to multiple doctors because computer systems do not talk to each other. And that's ridiculous. I had to advocate for myself and demand when I could come home because one person said I could and another person went home for her weekend. I've submitted surveys. The hospital wants to know, how did we do? Would you recommend us? No, I really wouldn't. And here's why. Here's what needs to be fixed. I've taken the time to feel all of these feelings because, as my therapist says, you have to feel in order to heal. I'm journaling every day about what I want out of life, out of the day, out of moving forward. I'm reassessing what I'm working on, who I work with, and the friends that I keep in touch with. And I'm cherishing also those extra moments when the kids are just crazy off the wall and can be so annoying. And yet I thank God that I have that I get to bark at them if I need to pick up their toys, that we can make more memories and still have more time together. And I'm lucky that I get to share this story with you so that maybe it makes you pay a little bit more attention to what your body's telling you. Maybe it prompts that conversation with your significant other or a friend or family member so that you can tell them what you would like to have happen to you. I want to live by the beach someday, and if that means I have to be buried there, then that is fine by me. But that's what I want. What kind of a celebration of life do you want? What are your goals, and how can you start working towards them instead of just writing them down on a piece of paper and hoping that someday they happen? Are you taking those vacations? Right now I can't fly, so I'm actually missing out on a vacation with the family as we speak. And I have this alone time, which is also very, very eerie because nobody's home with me. And it's something that I have not had in almost a decade, to be home alone for days on end. So these are all things that I'm thinking about, and I want you to start thinking about them because I don't want you to have to go through what I just did in order to bring up these types of subjects, in order to create these conversations, in order to have that self-reflection for yourself. We have a finite amount of time here on earth, and it's really up to us with what we do with it. What causes do we want to fight for? How do we want to use our voice? What's the story we want to tell? What is it that we want to do that's going to make an impact on the world, on our community, on our family, and on ourselves? So friends, I know this was a heavy episode, and I don't apologize because I want all of us to start thinking more about this. I want us to change our own lives. I want to change my own life. And it's a process, and it's something that isn't to be taken lightly at all. I am utterly grateful that I am not only still here, but that you're listening and that I'm able to record this episode for you, because there was a chance that this might never have happened and that last week could have been the last episode, which is really weird and scary and puts life into perspective. So I thank you. Truly, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for reading the emails, for reading the posts, for reaching out, for listening to the show, because I absolutely love doing this. And I wouldn't do this if nobody listened. So thank you. Thank you for being there for me. Any kind of conversation you want to have around this, please reach out. I'm more than happy to talk more with anybody who has these fears, because we all fear it. I think that there is a fear of dying. I'm afraid of dying because I'm not ready for it. And I think that's a discussion that we should be having. How do we prepare for it? Do we prepare for it, or do we really make an impact on this life that we have? And that is going to somehow prepare us for it. I don't know, but I'm working on these answers, and I want you to start thinking about it and working on it too. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening every week and for supporting me. And I look forward to the many, many things that are yet to come, the stories that we've yet to share, and the impact that we've yet to make.